February 13th, 2017. Delphi, Indiana. A small, quiet town nestled amidst the sprawling farmlands of rural America. It was the kind of place where unlocked doors were common, where neighbors knew neighbors, and where the biggest excitement usually revolved around high school football games or the annual county fair. At the edge of town lay the Monon High Bridge Trail, a popular walking path that snaked along the route of an old, abandoned railroad. Its centerpiece was the towering Monon High Bridge itself, an aging, rusted metal structure spanning the winding Deer Creek below. It was a picturesque, almost nostalgic spot, a perfect backdrop for a carefree afternoon. This was the innocent world of Libby German, 14, and her best friend, Abigail Abby Williams, 13. They were inseparable, two vibrant, typical teenagers enjoying a day off school, filled with youthful energy and the simple joy of friendship. That Monday afternoon, they set out for what seemed like a harmless adventure on the Monon High Bridge Trail. They posted snaps of themselves, smiling and laughing on the bridge, the cold winter air biting at their cheeks. These images captured a fleeting moment of pure, unadulterated happiness, unaware that they would soon become chilling pieces of a national mystery. One particular image taken by Libby would haunt investigators for years to come. A blurry, distant photo of a man walking behind them on the bridge. He was tall, dressed in a blue jacket and jeans, head down, walking with a distinct, determined stride. He would become known only as Bridge Guy, a faceless specter of terror. As dusk began to settle, the girls' families grew increasingly concerned. Libby and Abby were supposed to be home, but they weren't. Panic began to set in. Frantic phone calls led to increasingly desperate searches. Family members, friends, and local law enforcement converged on the trail, their flashlights cutting through the growing darkness, their calls of Libby, Abby, echoing unanswered into the cold night. The idyllic setting suddenly felt menacing, swallowing their hope with each passing hour. The next day, February 14th, Valentine's Day, brought not love, but unimaginable heartbreak. After an agonizing overnight search, the bodies of Libby and Abby were tragically discovered in a wooded area near Deer Creek, just a short distance from the bridge. The discovery shattered the very fabric of Delphi's peaceful existence, sending shockwaves across Indiana and beyond. Authorities quickly confirmed the worst. It was a double homicide. The small town, once synonymous with quiet charm, was now forever linked to a brutal, inexplicable crime, a terrifying violation that plunged an entire community into fear, grief, and an agonizing pursuit of justice against a killer who seemed to have vanished like a ghost. The shock waves from the discovery of Libby and Abby's bodies quickly rippled beyond Delphi, shattering the quiet anonymity of the small town. But amidst the grief and terror, a sliver of desperate hope emerged. The girls had captured evidence. Libby, with an incredible presence of mind in her final moments, had taken a blurry photograph on her phone. The image showed a man walking just behind them on the bridge, his head down, dressed in a blue jacket and jeans. This figure, dubbed Bridge Guy by investigators and the public, became the elusive face of the killer. Even more chillingly, Libby's phone also contained a short, grainy audio clip. In it, a male voice could be heard, clear yet ominous, uttering just 3 words, "Down the hill." These fragmented pieces of evidence, a blurry photo and a 3-second audio clip, became the cornerstones of one of the most frustrating and high-profile murder investigations in modern American history. The case exploded onto national headlines. The image and the chilling audio clip of Bridge Guy were circulated relentlessly across every news outlet, every social media platform. The FBI quickly joined the investigation, transforming it into a massive, multi-agency nationwide manhunt. Thousands upon thousands of tips poured in from every corner of the country. People obsessed over the blurry image, analyzing every pixel, listening to the audio clip on repeat, desperate to identify the man who had committed such a heinous act against 2 innocent girls. But despite the unprecedented attention and the seemingly crucial evidence, the killer remained frustratingly elusive. Weeks turned into months, then years, without an arrest. The initial flood of leads dwindled to a trickle, and the investigation, to the agonizing frustration of Libby and Abby's families, seemed to stall. The lack of a breakthrough, despite the compelling visual and audio, left a gaping void. fueling public speculation and a growing sense of despair. Over the years, law enforcement released various suspect profiles, sometimes subtly shifting their descriptions based on new insights or theories. This at times caused confusion and frustration among the public, who desperately wanted a clear picture of the monster they were hunting. Was he local? A transient? Someone known to the girls? The lingering questions and the persistent silence from the killer only deepened the mystery, giving rise to countless online theories and even wilder conspiracy theories. The community of Delphi, once known for its small-town charm, became a town defined by tragedy. Fear and suspicion permeated daily life. Every stranger was viewed with caution, every unexplained detail whispered about. The unsolved murders hung heavy over the town, a constant, painful reminder of the horror and the elusive justice. Meanwhile, the families of Libby and Abby, enduring unimaginable pain, became tireless advocates, refusing to let the world forget their daughters, their voices a persistent, heartbreaking plea for answers in a case that seemed determined to remain an unsolved riddle. As the years dragged on without an arrest, the Delphi Murders case became a frustrating, complex web of information, misinformation, and desperate theories. Investigators worked tirelessly, but the public, watching from afar, grew increasingly impatient and critical. The initial flood of tips often led to false leads and frustrating red herrings, each one raising false hope before inevitably crashing down. High-profile individuals were sometimes publicly scrutinized, their lives briefly torn apart by suspicion before being cleared, adding to the confusion and distrust. One of the most significant and sinister angles to emerge was the catfishing theory. Investigators revealed that the killer might have used a fake online profile or catfished the girls to lure them to the remote bridge. This added a terrifying new dimension to the crime, suggesting a meticulous, manipulative predator. New suspect profiles were drawn up, focusing on individuals with a history of online deception or predatory behavior. This strategy shifted the focus from a purely physical search to a deep dive into the digital underworld, hoping to unmask the killer hiding behind a screen. However, the evolving nature of the investigation also led to controversies and public criticism. Law enforcement at times faced accusations of missteps, a lack of transparency, or confusing messaging. Different suspect sketches were released over the years, seemingly contradicting previous ones, leaving the public bewildered. The frustration of Libby and Abby's families, who remained vocal advocates for their daughters, often mirrored the public's impatience with the slow pace and the constant shifts in the narrative. They desperately wanted answers, but the investigation seemed to dance on the edge of a breakthrough without ever quite getting there. Throughout these years, a chilling detail persisted. Police hinted at the existence of other, unreleased evidence. They repeatedly stated that they were holding back certain crucial pieces of information, designed to be a trap for the real killer. This deliberate withholding of evidence created an air of intense mystery and endless speculation. What did they know that the public didn't? What hidden clues were they sitting on? This secrecy, while strategically sound from an investigative standpoint, fueled countless theories and kept the case firmly entrenched in the public consciousness as an enduring, baffling puzzle. Despite the relentless media attention, the tireless efforts of investigators, and the haunting evidence provided by Libby's phone, the killer remained a silent ghost. He had managed to evade capture for years, seemingly disappearing back into the shadows after committing such a heinous act. This enduring elusiveness only deepened the mystery, making the Delphi murders an even more compelling and terrifying case, a true test of patience and perseverance in the face of an almost supernatural ability to avoid justice. Years of agonizing waiting, false hopes, and relentless speculation had taken their toll on the community of Delphi and the families of Libby and Abby. The bridge guy remained a phantom, seemingly mocking every investigative effort. Then, after what felt like an eternity, came the breakthrough no one dared to fully believe. On October 26, 2022, more than 5.5 years after the murders, a local man named Richard Allen was arrested. A seemingly ordinary individual who worked at the local CVS was charged with the brutal murders of the 2 young girls. The news ripped through Delphi and across the nation like an electric shock. There was an immediate, overwhelming wave of relief. An arrest had finally been made. The monster, the elusive bridge guy, had seemingly been unmasked. But this relief was profoundly intertwined with shock and disbelief. Richard Allen was not a stranger. He was a husband, a father, a seemingly unremarkable member of the community who had walked among them, perhaps even served them at the drugstore, all this time. The realization that the killer could have been so close, so hidden in plain sight, was a chilling new layer to the nightmare. The prosecution began to lay out their initial case, revealing some key pieces of evidence that had led to Allen's arrest. A critical discovery had been an unspent .40 caliber bullet found near Libby and Abby's bodies at the crime scene. This bullet was allegedly linked to a gun owned by Richard Allen. While not a smoking gun in isolation, it provided a tangible, physical connection that had been missing for years. Other early pieces of evidence, including his proximity to the bridge and his alleged lack of an alibi for that specific time, began to form a narrative for the prosecution. However, the legal battle was far from straightforward. Allen's defense team immediately mounted a vigorous challenge, questioning the chain of custody for crucial evidence, suggesting alternative theories, and highlighting the undeniable fact that there were no direct eyewitnesses to the murders themselves. They argued that the prosecution's case was circumstantial, based on limited evidence that could be interpreted in multiple ways. The courtroom drama promised to be as complex and fraught with tension as the years-long investigation had been. Adding to the chaos, the legal proceedings were quickly plagued by controversy. A shocking leak of crime scene photos from within the prison where Allen was being held sent ripples through the system, leading to a change of judges and accusations of misconduct. This incident not only highlighted the intense scrutiny surrounding the case, but also threatened to derail the delicate legal process. It served as a stark reminder that even with an arrest, the path to justice in the Delphi murders was destined to be a protracted, unpredictable, and often strange, dark, and mysterious journey, keeping the public on edge and questioning every new twist. With Richard Allen's arrest, the Delphi community held its breath, hoping for a swift and conclusive end to their 6-year nightmare. But the legal process, as is often the case in such high-stakes murder trials, proved to be anything but straightforward. The trial has been plagued by delays, legal maneuvers, and unforeseen controversies, keeping the families of Libby and Abby and a watching nation in agonizing suspense. From changes in judges to disputes over evidence handling and the shocking leak of crime scene photos, the path to justice has been a tortuous one, far from the clear-cut resolution everyone desperately craves. Despite the arrest, many questions remain hauntingly unanswered. Was Richard Allen truly the sole bridge guy captured in Libby's chilling photo? Was he acting alone, or were there accomplices whose identities remain hidden in the shadows? What was the true motive behind such a brutal, seemingly senseless act of violence against 2 innocent teenagers? The unspent bullet found near the girls' bodies, linked to Allen's gun, remains a critical piece of the prosecution's puzzle. But for many, the full narrative, the complete why, is still elusive. The case, even with a suspect in custody, refuses to yield all its secrets. Through it all, the unwavering dedication of Libby and Abby's families has been a beacon of resilience. They continue their tireless fight, attending every court hearing, speaking out, and keeping their daughters' memories alive. Their dignified pursuit of truth and justice, even amidst the painful public scrutiny and legal complexities, is a testament to their enduring love and their refusal to let the case fade into obscurity. The impact of the Delphi murders on the small town is indelible. The idyllic charm of Delphi was shattered forever. A lingering sense of suspicion and lost innocence permeates the community, a constant reminder of the day evil arrived on their quiet bridge. The once popular Monon High Bridge now stands as a haunting monument, its rusted frame a silent witness to a dark secret that refuses to be fully illuminated, even by the glare of a high-profile trial. The Delphi murders remain one of the most compelling, frustrating, and strange, dark, and mysterious cold cases in modern true crime history. Even with Richard Allen's arrest and the ongoing trial, the case continues to be an enduring riddle in the public imagination. It's a chilling testament to the power of mystery, the relentless pursuit of answers, and the haunting reality that sometimes, even after years of searching, the full, terrifying truth may never truly come to light. The ghost of Bridge Guy still lingers, not just in the blurry photo, but in the unanswered questions that haunt Delphi.